This is my 2001 Jaguar X-type. It's the 2.5 litre V6 petrol manual, and at the moment the problem we've got with it is this. Cannot get it to lock all the doors. Now I think the problem is, a few days ago my dad decided to prep it for its MOT, and he went round and he sprayed everything with WD-40. WD-40 is an insulator, and if it gets in the switches, of which there are 6 for the alarm, it will stop them working. So hopefully I'm going to go round and clean it all again and sort it out. I'm going to go and clean everything with Servisol. This is proper switch cleaner, and this is what you should be using, not WD-40. WD-40 is amazing, brilliant for lubricating, cleaning, freeing stuff up. Not brilliant for electrics. It really insulates everything. In the old days, when I had my RD200 Yamaha and it used to earth to the frame in the rain, I used to soak it with WD-40 to make sure that I didn't get electrocuted. There are no visible switches in the boot. In some cars you can see them really easily, and they're actually like bare copper contacts, but the contact must be inside there, so I'm going to fill that up with Servisol first. So I'll put it up so it actually comes out through the casing. Now you can take this casing off if you want. It's not too difficult. I've done a video on how to do it. I may end up doing that again. So there are no visible switches in any of the door shuts, so I'll just be going into the locks and spraying that with Servisol. The idea is to drive the WD-40 out. Another test to try is with the engine running. Open the door and click the lock. You have to do it 2 clicks. Click it right in, and it thinks it's locked now. That doesn't seem to have made any difference to that. Just use the handle to release it. It's taken me ages to figure out where the bonnet switch is, not least because the internet tells you that it's there, when in fact it is there. That's the bonnet switch, and that's what I was looking for, something like that, a press switch. So I'm hoping that still works, but I'm going to try and clean that up. So if you pull its little rubber boot off, there's the switch. Obviously that goes up and down. So I'm just going to spray that with Servisol and hope that drives any dirt out. Getting the boot back on was really fiddly. You have to get your hand underneath and push the switch body up so that you can force it back into place. I'm just going to check the bonnet switch by pushing it up and down and recording it on the iPod to see if it makes any difference. I want to disconnect the bonnet switch so I can test it by jumping it, but I can't get behind this to undo it, so I'll take this plate off so that I can get to the back of it. To get this bracket off, you obviously need to lift this, which means you need to undo this one so you can lift the whole thing up. So once that's lifted out, you can get at the connector, then you can jump the connector with a piece of wire and see if the switch isn't working or not. So that's the connector out, and I've jumped it with a loop of fencing wire that fits in there. It's got a push clip. I found that impossible to undo that with the plate in place. With the jumper in there, it thinks the button is pressed. Let's see if this fixes the car. No. Through the magic of the internet, I've discovered that if this metal tag doesn't return, the car thinks the key is still in it and will not lock the car, so you can't lock your keys in the car. So I'm going to put some Servisol switch cleaner in this and see if I can make it work. I hope the lock-picking lawyer's watching this. God, I'll be so pleased if this fixes this. Let's have a go. Ah, no, it's not that, is it? So what I found with this one is a common complaint. This has stayed up, and the reason for that is that the hinge bar inside there has all corroded up and is seizing it. So I'm going to spray into there and into the lock, try and loosen this off. This may be my problem. Somebody else has done a really good YouTube video on how to completely dismantle and cure this, but it's a long old job and I haven't got time to do that. I've opened the door panel up, I've pulled back this covering and there's a hole there. I've sprayed loads and loads of Servisol in there, and then I've savagely moved that up and down until it's freed itself off. In the process of doing that, I've broken some of the door lugs, so I'm going to quickly repair that with polymorph. So polymorph is this amazing plastic that softens in hot water, and then you can form it into a hard plastic and repair the door. I've done another video on this. This top one's really badly smashed and I've had to replace nearly the whole thing. So before this goes off, I'm going to put it back together so it sets in situ. That one's not so bad, and the one down the bottom, that isn't so bad, but we'll put it all back together quick. I've gone around and I've sprayed all the locks, I've sprayed all the switches, I've had the boot switch apart and looked inside it, I've had the bonnet switch apart, and I still can't find out which switch it is that's stopping the alarm from activating. So I'm going to try and use the test code. In order to get the test code out, you have to press the trip button down, then turn the ignition round to point number 2, holding the trip code in. Then you can scroll through with the trip button to the DTC codes. DTC, now these are the important ones. E510, A879, 9202, I know that's the fuel pump one. The later cars, actually, instead of just bringing that light up there, this one, apparently they say bonnet open, which is a real giveaway that it's the bonnet switch. But I've got no giveaway on this car, so I'm going to have to do some more research. So now I'm going to run an OBD2 and see if I can get a reading that will help me with this problem. In the Jaguar, the reading point is up there, just here. So that's plugged in and it's lit up to show it's working, so you have to turn the ignition on to make it work. So menu, DTC, that's the controls, press enter. That says fault 0, pending 1, P1100. Better go and find out what that is, but I'm pretty sure that's the one that shows you you've used the fault reader. That's it, P1111, P1111. 1, P1000. P1000 is the fault code that shows you that you've read the faults. I'm beginning to despair with this car. I've checked all the switches, all the locks, I've checked the bonnet switch, I've checked the boot switch, I've gone around, I've checked all the latches. Now I'm going to check these connections here. This is called the GEM, and each connection there controls different parts of the car. I'm just going to try disconnecting them, cleaning them and putting them back together to see what happens. To get them off, they have this little cradle, and you pull the cradle up like that and then you can pull it out. I'm just going to spray that with Servisol and see if that cleans it out. When I pulled this first one off, I could hear something shut down in the car, so it's obviously working. The second one along, which is green, that definitely has something to do with the door locks, because they all clicked when I disconnected that. Well, it's now a week since I made the first part of the video, and the weather has changed completely. It's now cooled down by 10 degrees, and what do we find? the car has cured itself. Now I don't think it has cured itself. I think what's happened is the switch cleaner has got down into one of the switches and finally cured it. The change in temperature has contracted one of the switches so that it works again. We don't have these big temperature spikes in England very often, but it's really annoying that it's done it. I mean, the car's 19 years old, it's never done it before. There are two other things that you can try that I never got around to. In there are the connections for the locks, so you can undo these and check that they're good, haven't been damaged. And if you're clever, you can also work out how to short the micro switches. There's also a connection for the rear door in there, and you can open up that and look at the wiring, or you could open up the door, get the lock out and check all the connections and short the harness. Comes out and it's got these two electrical connections. As long as you understand how they work, they're pretty easy. That pops down, press that one to pop it out, and this one, popper slide, is on the bottom. However, I don't need to do any of that because it works now, and it works exactly perfectly as it's supposed to do. So my theory is the switch cleaner's got down into the switches after a week and taken whatever little bit of dirt has been locking one of them up and cured it.